Welcome everyone to this super gross chemistry set. In this we're going to make boiling green swamps, disgusting blood cells, and we're going to make and dissect a brain. Ooh, keep watching if you dare. This is part of what comes in the box. Various containers, test tubes, and some molds for making a brain and a wild mushroom. I like that it includes a set of safety glasses. Full marks there. Every chemistry kit should come with some safety glasses. Here are the liquid contents. There's 3 different colors to play with. Some pH solution, some vegetable oil, and some sodium alginate solution, red and white. Here's the packets of dry ingredients. The kids are going to love these stickers that you can put on the test tubes so you know exactly what disgusting thing is inside. The instruction guide is of the same format of every National Geographic science kit. Very clearly labelled, all the instructions on each experiment on a 2-page spread. And it's also typical for them to include a booklet of bonus experiments. These experiments have actually appeared in other science kits too. Right, let's make some slime. These are the items that we'll need from the kit. First, let's get a nice swampy green in there, shall we? We add 4 scoops of this goo powder and stir it in thoroughly. This is going to turn our green water into more of a slimy, thicker consistency. To help it gain a thicker consistency, we're going to pour it back and forth from one cup to another. And here's our finished slime. Now we need to mix the reagents, which is going to turn our slime into a bubbling swamp. Mix together well 2 big scoops of the citric acid and 2 big scoops of the baking soda. Simply pour the slime we prepared earlier into the mix of the reagents. And watch the swamp bubble and expand. Very cool stuff. For this experiment, we're going to use a base of calcium chloride, and we're going to construct red blood cells using the sodium alginate solution. Mix 1 medium scoop of calcium chloride into 50 milliliters of water. Pour out a small amount of red sodium alginate, and then we're going to put droplets into the calcium chloride solution, and those will form into our little miniature blood cells. Carefully pour most of the solution away, but not all of it. And then we're going to pour our blood cells into a test tube so that we can use them later on. Creating white blood cells is a little different. We're still going to use the calcium chloride solution. We're going to use the white sodium alginate, except this time we're going to pour it into a little spoon and submerge that in the calcium chloride for a little bit until it gels into our blood cells, and then we're going to release it into the fluid. I found these a lot harder to make because they tend to come out as more of an amorphous blob rather than the little red pellets that we had with the red blood cells. Store your newly created white blood cells into another one of the test tubes. The final step before we get to our brain is we're going to make some eyeballs. This is what we need, including the red blood cells that we made earlier. This should be a familiar process by now. We're going to dissolve calcium chloride into water. Using the white sodium alginate solution, we're going to lower a spoon of that into our calcium solution, just the same way we did making the white blood cells. Except that this time, we're going to put 1 or 2 of the red blood cells into the eye to make them look a little bit more like eyeballs. I must admit, they don't really look like eyeballs to me. It suffers the same kind of expansion problem that the white blood cells had. But, well, this is what we have. Pour them into another test tube for us to use when we get to the brain in the next experiment. These are the items that we need, including the brain mold. Dissolve 2 big scoops of the agar-agar powder into 100 milliliters of water and add coloring as you prefer. I'm going to make my brain a kind of purplish color. I know that's not really what a brain looks like, but hey, it's my brain. Being very careful not to spill it, Put the whole pot into a microwave for 60 seconds. Then we're going to leave it for 5 minutes to cool. Pour about 3/4 of this mixture into the brain mold. Add some red blood cells, white blood cells, eyeballs, whatever you like. Add it to the mix. And then fill the mold up with the rest of the solution. The next stage is to refrigerate our brain in the mold for about an hour. It should be just jelly-like to the touch when it's ready. The tricky part is tipping it out of the mold. As you can see, mine just kind of went bleh and didn't really hold its shape at all. I don't know why this is the case. Maybe you'll do better. Now that you have your brain, you can let your kid dissect it using the spoons. They can pull out parts of the brain and fish around in there to pull out some red blood cells or some eyeballs. Get in there and have lots of fun. Those are just a few of the fun experiments in the super gross chemistry set. I definitely recommend this for the fun factor your kids will have playing with it, especially the younger ones. There's not much in the way of science learning in this kit, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm sure your kids will love to get stuck in with all of these gross experiments. So thanks for sticking to the end of the video. If you liked it, please give it a like, subscribe if you're enjoying my videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheerio.